After just narrowly escaping the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets are not going to have to face the juggernaut that is the Clippers. The Clippers, as I predicted, ended up winning it in exactly 6 games. We had appearances from Pandemic P, and of course the great Kawhi Leonard, who has continued the level of play that he's shown all throughout the season and even last playoffs. The man is unstoppable. While the Nuggets are coming fresh off of a victory in a 7-game series against the Utah Jazz, that last game was a dogfight. I won't lie to you, the Nuggets were looking super tired. Both the Nuggets and the Jazz were looking very exhausted. Murray looked like he might have gotten hurt in the end of that game. So the Clippers are right now, they've been chilling, and they're going to get this very exhausted Nuggets team in the second round. And let's be 100% honest. When the Nuggets were down bad, I was probably one of the few people who had them still pulling through and winning the series in 7 games. I know Jokic had a huge game in this last game, but before this game, the last 3 games before game 7, Murray was going crazy, shooting like 57% from the 3-point line. The man was unstoppable, averaging like 40 plus points per game, tearing it up every fourth quarter. He was on fire. But as we all know, all fires must be put out at a certain point, and Jamal Murray kind of looked slow, man. I won't lie. In this game 7, he looked slow, he looked sluggish. He kind of fell, hit his knee, so he was kind of looking kind of off, and Nikola Jokic luckily was there to bail them out in that series. So the question is, how will the Nuggets fare against a well-rested Clippers team? Well, the first thing is the Clippers rotation is starting to look solid. They're starting to look like they're getting more reps together. You saw Harrell play well. We saw Lou play well. The bench has been playing well. Everybody's kind of in sync. And outside of those limited appearances of Pandemic P.
What is that? Oh,
mixed in there with some playoff P, the Clippers are starting to look like they're about to hit their final form. And look, man, I love Paul George, one of my favorite players in the entire league. I would say I have a very similar game as Paul George, you know what I'm saying? Not Pandemic P, but playoff P.
wait, what you just say? I know you did not just say what I think you just said. No. What did you?
No more Pandemic P memes on Twitter. Alright, Paul George is going to play like the perennial all-star that he is. And they need him to play that way, especially if they want to, you know, if we're looking forward at things, if they want to get past a team like the Lakers. I will say, hold the phone there. Let's not look that far ahead, alright? This is not going to be an easy out by any means. I know the Nuggets were looking tired at the end of this game. Number 1, Nikola Jokic against one of the best defensive players in the entire league, Rudy Gobert. Basically kind of just did what he wanted in terms of offensive production, whether it be from scoring from the perimeter, whether it be scoring from the inside. He really is a unicorn. And unlike another unicorn we know, he seems to be able to stay healthy throughout the season. He has had success against them this season, whether it be passing, rebounding, points. He has been able to do what he's wanted against the Clippers. And unlike the Dallas Mavericks, who basically just had Luka Doncic for most of that series, the Nuggets have probably one of the hottest players in the playoffs right now as his co-star. So the Clippers can't just focus all their energy on Nikola Jokic, put him on some double teams, because Jamal Murray, although he slowed down a little bit, was playing at an all-time high. If you looked at the earlier games where the Mavs had success, Porzingis was playing, Doncic was playing, and the bench players were playing really well. And I think the moment Porzingis got hurt, that series was basically over. But unlike the Mavericks, they have 2 healthy stars in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they have a really good roster all throughout. They even have a solid third scoring option in Michael Porter Jr. But as we start looking deeper into this matchup, we start seeing some very unfavorable things for the Denver Nuggets. First, the Clippers have some of the best perimeter defense in the entire league, okay? They have Kawhi Leonard, they have Paul George, even Morris. Lengthy defenders that they have that they can switch at any moment. And I think that Jamal Murray's hot 3-point shooting and mid-range shooting could be slowed down in this series. They could put Pat Bev on him if he's back. They could put Paul George on him. They could put Kawhi Leonard on him. They could put Morris on him. They have a plethora of matchups that they could throw at Jamal Murray. So I do not think he's going to have anywhere near as much success as he had in the first series. And in their 3 regular season matchups this season, in which the Clippers won the last 2, they won 2 out of the 3 games, Jamal Murray was not much of a factor. To be 100%, the Clippers have the players to guard Michael Porter Jr. They have some bodies to throw at Jamal Murray, and the only real matchup nightmare I can see for the Clippers is just guarding Nikola Jokic. And on the defensive end, I really don't think there's anybody that's gonna stop Kawhi Leonard. And not to mention, in their matchups this season, Paul George, Lou Williams, and Montrezl Harrell have kind of had their way with the Nuggets defense. And judging by how the Nuggets struggle to contain the Jazz guards, especially Donovan Mitchell, I can see Lou Williams having a field day in this series. And for all those reasons, I'm definitely picking the Clippers to win this series. I have the Clippers winning this series in 6 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it in 5. The only way I can see the Nuggets pushing it past further than that is they're going to need Luka level play from Jamal Murray. So Jamal Murray is going to have to play like he did against the Jazz all throughout the series. And since I believe that they have a more well-rounded team and they also have Nikola Jokic, they could possibly upset the Clippers if he were to continue to play at that level. But Doc Rivers and that coaching staff know what they're doing. They are going to double Jamal Murray any chance they get. And just like how they tried with Luka Doncic, they're going to try to force the other players on the Nuggets to make plays. So that's why I feel like a player like Nikola Jokic is going to have a big series. Not only is the matchup favorable towards him, but they can't focus all of their defensive energy at him. So he's going to have some one-on-one situations that he likes. But another player I want to highlight for the Nuggets is Michael Porter Jr. I would say he had a kind of an underwhelming series against the Jazz with how well he was playing. And a lot of the reasons why he didn't play as much in this series is because of some of his defensive mishaps that he was having. He was turning over the ball. He was just doing things that a young player should do. But I believe deep down that Jamal Murray cannot just be counted on to carry the team by himself. And even with Nikola Jokic's production, they're going to need a third consistent scorer. And I think that's where Michael Porter, he'd come off the bench just like Lou, and he's got to be able to light up like 15 to 20 points a night. But at the end, I believe the Clippers are too much for them. They have Kawhi Leonard, who's playing at an MVP level. They have Paul George, who, unless he reverts to his alter ego in Pandemic P, should be really good in this series. And not to mention how deep that roster is with Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Lou Williams, and Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench. 6 Man of the Year candidates. This team is stacked. And good starters mixed with good bench means you can create a good lead and you can sustain it when the starters go to sit down. Not to mention Doc Rivers is a very excellent coach, so I feel very confident in my decision. I'm really loving this Clippers team right now. And after an exhausting series like the one the Nuggets just had, I think it will be the last we see of Jamal Murray and the boys in the playoffs. Alright man, that's gonna be all. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. A like really helps out the YouTube algorithm, so I really appreciate it. I'm gonna continue making videos about all the playoff series coming soon. So yeah, that's gonna be all, man. I'm gonna see y'all.
But if she like ya, she gon' run that checkup like a wife do. And you know it, if she gon' blow it on me. Majima, that's me.